So welcome everybody. This is our meeting. We meet every month with team coaches and we invite them to share their experiences and learn from each other. So today we have with us Gaby Alcocer and Colle. Both of them are team coaches. They are going to be sharing with us their experiences working together. So what this is interesting is not only we're talking about team coaching, but particularly with two team coaches collaborate. So we can learn from their collaboration and their approach. I had the opportunity already to listen to this session in Spanish. We have also a network of team coaches in Spanish. So welcome, it's great to have you. Ines is from Argentina. I don't know where are you today because she travels a lot. Are you in Buenos Aires or are you somewhere else?
I am back home now.
Okay.
Now.
She was in Europe for many months, and Gaby is based in Querétaro, Mexico. That Querétaro is one of the most beautiful cities, I think, in Mexico. Great to have both of you. And I don't know if you want to say a little bit more about each of you, and then jump to your presentation. You can engage us in whatever way you want.
Yeah, we are including our introduction in our presentation.
Okay, great.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Correctly?
Yes.
Good.
I think.
So here we are. And thank you for the invitation. Gaby, do you want to start where we met?
Yes. Well, as Damian said, I'm from Mexico. I have the opportunity to study, to learn with Damian in coaching supervision, in group supervision, and also in a team coach cohort. I've been working with teams for a long time, but I started being a team coach, and we would like to supervise team coaches. So Ines and I are working together since time ago, and now we are working as co-coaches. And I really enjoy working with Ines. Thank you, Ines.
Thank you. Me too. As you see, we have met when we were in coaching supervision cohort 6. It was like 2017, 2018, more or less. So time flies. And then we had the opportunity to know each other and to practice and collaborate. And this is part of our success in the case study that we're going to share today. This is like, giving you a preview, some suspense. Okay, so let's give some, we're both MCCs and we both are, I don't know, actually, Gaby, you're still PCC on your journey. Sorry, I was upgrading you. I love that. And we are working together as co-coaches, and it's so interesting because this is part of the feeling that we have, that we collaborate, we share, we complement each other, we have a lot of trust and flexibility. And that is part of our experience. And I would like to share this case and see how it will be helpful or beneficial to you. Any insights, any questions? We will have a space for questions at the end, but please feel free to ask us whatever you need. Okay. So a little bit of context. Gaby graduated 1 year before as team coach, and I was finishing my journey with Damian. And this is about how context is challenging for us. So I had 3 months to find a team who was welcoming team coaching. So we had, finding the client was quite a challenge, and a previous client of mine accepted, which was what we will see in this whole journey. I am describing here the initial situation and this double contracting. It's a 2 steps contracting, and I believe that was part of and a success. I don't want to use the success part. It's a great learning because the client trusted us because he knew me. He didn't know Gaby before, and I wanted to do a co-coaching experience because we wanted to go in this journey with Gaby. So the client accepted it, and we had this amazing challenge. It was December, and in the Southern Hemisphere, you have holidays, summer holidays right after Christmas. So it was Christmas time and holiday time, and we needed to do this team coaching journey. The most important part is that the client agreed with us because he said, I have a purpose. There is something important that we have achieved in 2022, and we want to build, to harvest whatever we agreed or we achieved, decided in 2022. So we had the purpose, but we had to make all that magic happen. So he said yes, and we designed a framework in which a design would help us move forward and obtain that in 3 months. We will go through all this together later on. So the challenges were the initial situation, the clear purpose from the leader, who was leader and sponsor. We had a director and a manager, and then 12 team members, which was a large group, because it was an amplified a marketing team with communication and in a matricial organization. So we clarified the purpose, and we used an appreciative approach to invite or validate the purpose and the objectives with the team, because we know that whatever we propose, the team has to agree. It's their goal in their coaching. So we had to find a methodology, which we were very much aligned with Peter Hawkins' process and activities, and that there is a very interesting other systemic challenge, and we find a very good solution that they had a weekly meeting. So they offered to use every 15 days the time saved for their weekly meetings. So we could have the cadence, we could have the meetings, and then we needed to have everybody on board because it was holiday season. So we had to prepare a framework where if everybody could be there, great. And if some of them wouldn't be there, how did the team own this process so that they could help every other member to be on board? So these were some of the challenges that we had. Then I think I said everything. Is there anything else I missed, Gaby, in the stage?
No, not really.
Okay. So once we had this, we went to the pre-work and first session. Gaby, the mic is yours.
Yeah, so we designed this overview in our process. And we designed this idea of team coaching today and future. So the kickoff we already did with the sponsor, and it was like the kickoff yes that Ines mentioned. But here is the kickoff with the team. The kickoff with the team is important because it's important for us and for them to agree in a common goal, no? So to have this moment for them to decide the goal on this process. So we took the time to agree on the objective. We took the time for the contracting, clear contracting, and mentioned the ongoing contracting. Part of the contracting, and Ines already mentioned, is if I'm not going to be here, who is going to share the information? How is going to be open? Yeah, actually, they give us a space in Teams to share the information, to be very, very open. Part of the contracting was obviously the confidentiality. All the information that we was about to share was going to be confidential, and it was important to establish trust with the team. No, the key learnings were very important. The definition of the co-created objective. That was Ines and I, the idea for that session, for this first session, to define the objective. And actually we did. And we did why? Because it was a great team. The leader was, and that's part of our learnings as co-coaches, the leader was absolutely committed. The team leader was absolutely committed, and also the members. Was a great team, by the way. We have differences, different personalities and things like that. That's a team, okay? But the perspective for them to learn, to share together and work in a better way was excellent. Here, the important thing is knowing the client, no? They trust in the sponsor, and we felt that. We have this invitation for them to have the following session in between session 1 and the following session, and one-to-one interview for 15 minutes with them to know about them. Ines and I worked together. Ines interview half, and I did the other half. We shared together the information. We worked together in all the information before and after each session. So Ines and I, and as part of our learning, work very close on this information. We learn about them, how they perceive the team, how they would like to work in a better way, and how they called this Harvest 2023. And this is Harvest because, as Ines mentioned, they already start working on some objectives and strategies since 2022. So that's a wonderful time, an excellent timing to do this closing, to start working together as a high performance team. No, we use, as Ines mentioned, the Hopkins methodology, and we share this roadmap with them to guide them, for them to understand in which place we were in each session. Then, if you would like to change the
I did.
Sorry. In this one,
may I add one little thing? That
yeah.
We had 3 layers of objectives. That was the team, amplified team working together, the harvest, as you just explained. And the director said, I want to delegate more this leadership role in my manager. So we agreed in this framework that the coaches would start with a more active role, especially sharing all the assessment as Gaby is now to share. And then we would fade out a little bit so that this manager would have more leadership participation, more participation as a leader, applying all those leadership skills. So we had 3 different goals.
Yes. So we, thank you, Ines. So
No,
we
please.
were working in this assessment, Hodgkin's assessment, and was excellent tool because it's very easy because it's quantitative and qualitative survey about how they perceive each one of the topics that we would like to learn about them, for them to find how they really how really they were working, no? So this assessment has the interviews, as we said, one-to-one, the quantitative, because it's a quantitative method, and based on Peter Hodgkin's model. We share the process, we share these results in a slide. This is the topics that you were working, and we highlight in yellow one. Those are the ones that you select as an area for opportunity to work on. So maybe you would like to work on some of them. Obviously, we would like to enhance the ones that you are good enough and to keep going on that one in a very positive perspective. But also we would like to invite you to see on what you may need to work better. So they define 3 different areas. They decide in which one they would like to work on. And this is wonderful because it's amazing because they realize that each one of them picked the same thing. At the beginning, we said that the sponsor would like this objective, no? And they bought it. They decide the same. So when they realize that the others pick the same, for example, the most voted for them was, the first one was purpose, no? And what is about purpose? And they say, okay, a purpose is what and how to achieve that harvest that we would like to have in 2023. The other one was co-creation. We are talking about Peter Hodgkin's model, no? Co-creation. So how can we co-create better sessions, meetings? Because they said, we work a lot on the meetings. We say a lot of powerful things, but what is with the following? How can we capitalize this experience in meetings? Nothing is happening. So they changed the way to work on meetings. So co-creation was a very powerful tool for them. And the other one was stakeholders, no? And stakeholders is in a more systemic perspective, how to work better among them all. How? And so they pick teams. We work as, for example, in breakout rooms, and they decided, I would like to work on co-creation. I would like to work on purpose or on stakeholders. And they decide on what on specific to work on. For example, meetings. Co-creation is about meetings. Okay, who would like to work on meetings? Okay, we. And so 14 people, they pick the ones that more resonates to them. So they have these strengths to work on a specific, and they decide to challenge themselves and work not as me, just as me, to start working as a team together. And that was a wonderful experience because we for us was so clear that the desire that they have to work to be a better team, a high performance team, this new harvest, because they they picked the name Harvest 2023. So it was a wonderful way to work. Ines and I work very, very clean on each one of the answers and try to present to them in a very propositive way, in terms that you are a good team, and we are here because you can be a much better team. You have that potential. And so we work very, very well with them. Anything else you want to share?
Yes, and this is part of our learnings. The closer team was very effective, and it was a regional team. So the challenge was how they could have the same successful dynamics that they had with a smaller team when they expanded it to a larger team. And to us, it was quite a challenge to work with a team of 12 people and the 2 leaders there. And then the possibility of, or the challenge of incorporating different initiatives and how to include or make more available a safe space so that shyer people or people that were part of the expanded, amplified team could feel heard and participate as one of the usual teams, because it was a regional expanded team. And that was very important as well. And we could canalize this through their initiatives and that participated in these projects or initiatives by their affinity. So it was very interesting. And one thing I would say in this dynamics and what happened in session 3 and then in session 4, that we had some extra challenges, because remember we said it was holiday season. So for some situation, we were going very well. People were attending. Everyone, we said with the ground rules, who is, passing the torch or updating people who are not participating. Fortunately, it was only 1 person or 2 from the 12 or 14 every time. But on session 3, what happened is that the sponsor leader, he was very generous and gave the possibility of lead the activities and the team so that she would develop more leadership skills, was coming back from holidays, and he had a problem with his flight and he wouldn't be arriving on time. And then she had her trip planned, and she had to leave, and they said, okay, none of us is going to be there. Can you do the session? And can we do the session with the people, with our team members? And then immediately I called Gaby. I said, Gaby, this is going against the quality of the process. So without team leaders, we're not going to do it, because how are they going to own it? So we immediately called them and explained our reasons and what were the benefits. And they were very flexible, understood, and they said, okay, let's postpone it. So we had the flexibility and focusing on what was the priority. And then we agreed to postpone session 3. So, and that was interesting. Both leaders could be there. So it was interesting that by honoring our values and the process and the methodology, we had actually a better result. So what happened, and Gaby and I were already always in sync. Like if she had done some interviews, I did the others and the surveys, and then we processed together and shared our explanations or the interpretations that we would have about what was going on. So what we could see in session 3 is that there was high attendance and, sorry, there is a double participation. what happened there? That the teams started on Jamboard expressing their updates and how the projects would start having some improvements or taking action. So that was an ongoing process, and it wasn't just one session every 2 weeks. Then what we found is that there was an open-minded learning, because the global and the local roles started expressing open communication and active listening, which was one of the things we wanted to build. And some, we would say introvert, but they were not introvert. Once they were at ease, they started sharing more and more. So what we say here, that passive members showed more participation, was not only because they were introvert, is because they were like spread out geographically, or they weren't part of the usual team. So building those connections was important as well. And the leader revealed increasing and more constructing leadership skills. Her historical focus was more on management, and she started co-creating with them. And that takes us to the last topic, that we found that there was a shared purpose, and whatever the leaders had in mind, the team owned it, validated it, and they took it as their own. So the projects were aligned with their perspective of the team nowadays and how they wanted the team to be at the end of the year when that harvest would have happened. And then those, as Gaby explained, they voted, and they owned whatever they wanted to work on. And the initiatives were concrete because they came from their own conclusions. So what happened then in the group dynamics, that in the session 4, we could see that they ended up with commitments, very interesting, and that the projects were not just part of the coaching session. They started building and happening on their own. And here the leader was coordinating more and more, and we were fading out. So what we could see is that the team had planned specific actions into co-created and interdisciplinary projects from one team members and regions with other team members in other regions. In small groups, what I said, what they chose, they were not taken, you have to do this or not, or the other. So the participants along the process maintained high motivation, and they participated, and they brought their personal commitments, which they had expressed when in the interviews we said, how would you like to be this team? And then they built whatever they had envisioned. The leader, both leaders created space. They supported with continuous action, and was interesting because at the end of session 4, they committed to follow up and continue with these reflections. So one feeling when we did the checkout and the feedback with them and feed forward at the end of session 4, the people said, let's make sure that urgency does not postpone the important things that came up here. And that was very relevant, very interesting for us, so that the teams owned whatever was happening. So we arrived at the end. They finished with their action plans here, the sessions, and we agreed pre-work and post-work with the leaders, which were the interviews and everything. And at the end, we would have a feedback session feedback and feed forward with the leaders. So, Gaby, would you like to share what we shared with the leaders at the end of the session?
Yeah, we have this great session with them. At the end, they shared that goals obtained in accordance to agreed meetings. And so they were very excited to see how the team continue working in an active and propositive way. They shared the satisfaction that they got the three objectives they decided at the beginning about leadership, integration, and effectiveness. They share, and this was beautiful, the team coaching exceed expectations from what they thought at the beginning. Even though both are, no, just the leader was a team coach, right, Ines? So that's why
Yes, the sponsor was a team coach as well, but not working as team coach. He was working as a director.
Exactly. But when they say they exceed expectation was wonderful. So for us to see how they perceive the team was great, because as Ines said, not just the country, the team in the country was a LATAM team, and was hard to integrate together, but was a wonderful experience.
And before we go to our learnings, and please let us know, Damian, because we get passionate if we're getting too late.
You have 15 minutes. I don't know if you want to engage people in any way with questions or.
Yes. Okay. Well, yes, we are. I think we're well then. What happened is that they left with their action plan and with the feed forward, as we say, what would be the next steps, because there was an explicitly commitment from the team that let's keep this going on. We appreciate that we had these reflections. Let me repeat it. Let's make sure that the urgencies don't make us postpone what's important. So this was a very nice reflection from the team. So the leaders took it and they continued working on this, but it was part of our feed forward. And as we believe that last meeting with the leaders is important, so that they don't forget whatever the team had as a takeaway and an outcome. So a year later, what we call more harvest, we interviewed again the sponsor, because to us it was important to understand what stayed and what continued after the team coaching. So in this further contract, he shared with us how satisfied he was, because the manager has evolved more into their leader role, and the team was more empowered. Those connections that they had built with the amplified team stayed and continued going on. And the initiatives that they couldn't see from people who felt a little spread out and were more, we could say shyer, but it's not really shy when you knew them. They didn't stop talking. What's interesting is that they felt that they had a voice in the larger team so that everybody could participate. And this is interesting because every time we have hybrid and regional teams, that could be a challenge as well. And then the last but not least, the projects grew by themselves. What we say in Spanish, they had vuelo propio. They continued and evolved even beyond the leaders' expectations, as Gaby said. So it was very interesting to see how what we started there continued. This is the end of our conclusions in terms of the process. And now, Gaby, what are the key learnings that we have as co-coaches and having done this journey together?
Yes, I'm on mute. No, yeah. We have beautiful learnings. No, we said about the coaching process. We realize how important is when the sponsor understand the value of this team coaching. So to understand the value of supporting the process from the sponsor. This is a very highlight for us, because we are working with other teams, and it's not always happen the same. Another key learning is the value of the committed leader. It's not just the supporting, it's being committed. Being committed in this experience was for both the team leader and the sponsor, because they both wanted to continue to really be a high performance team. Another key learning is the value to have committed members, because they really wanted, even though they realized there are different cultures from all different countries, they would like to do it, to learn how to work better together. So in terms of the process, also we learned that to trust the process. And I think in a better way, the most important thing is how we as a co-coaches work. And Ines, do you want to share our learnings as a co-coaches?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. As co-coaches, knowing each other, it was very important. Trusting and the flexibility. We had agreed that whoever knows the client would have that extra work of the contact and convincing the client in some moments. And it was a bad timing of the year. So Gaby said, "Oh, I'm not going to be there on this week. No worries. I could do more interviews and then you would do that." So complementing each other, it was very important. And making sure that at the sessions and everything else, we would be there, both of us, and discussing whatever came up. Because when they wanted to not be there, I said, no, this is relevant. What do we do? Not decide on your own, but always consulting each other and having this flexibility. So knowing each other and having flexibility and being committed as co-coaches as well. So I think it's time to open. Is there anything else, Gaby, please?
Yes, I would like to say a very important thing for Ines and for me is supervision.
Yes, I want to say that. Yes, thank you.
In our case, to supervision. And this is a great learning from each one when we are working a team. We need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much for the great presentation. We have 5 minutes for people to ask questions. I want to recognize you for the work you have done. One of the things that caught my attention that I wanted to reinforce is this idea of contracting, how effective you were at contracting. Not all team members are already in great shape when we start working with them. In this case, Gaby, you were saying at the beginning of the presentation, there was a great team because people already were very committed. And we know with individual coaching too, the clients on one-on-one who are very committed, who are very willing to work, many times get the most results too, because they are more open and willing and committed. So I think that was a great element, but you're contracting and you kept contracting. I'd like to say ABC, always be contracting. This contracting and recontracting, I think, is one of the foundations to your success. So congratulations. So let's see, Sylvia, Donnell, Mark, any questions that you may want to ask?
I have a question. Thank you both for a great presentation. Yeah, just a couple questions. Clarification, the sponsor / the director participated in the sessions, on all the sessions, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And then you guys had a meeting with them for feedback and feed forward. Okay.
Yes.
I think one of you mentioned about voting on what they want to work on, I guess, afterwards, or what projects they want to work on. With the method of voting, or the method of deciding, by voting, was that something they decided to do, or how did that come about?
Okay.
You want me or
You start and you clarify later?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Start, Ines.
We talked about Harvest 2023 because it was a framework from the company, because the company is the one who is engaging us into this project. And then using the results of the pre-work with the survey, we had these 5 areas and the gaps of whatever was their vision nowadays and whatever they wanted to build as vision. And then we brought this, and they had to decide to own this and decide what would help them build that bridge in the time they had. And they voted, and the most voted ones were the ones that they decided to work on. Am I answering? Please, Gaby, would you like to amplify on that?
I don't know. Is this okay for you, Sylvia? Would you explain?
Yeah, I mean, I think
You would like to know the methodology to do that?
Yeah, who decided that they're gonna vote?
They decided. They decided in the session, they went to breakout rooms, they talk about the topics, the different topics, and they come to the ground session and say, we think that we would like to work on 17, on 13, on 8, depending on the ones that they realize they need to work on. So is the team the one who decides on what on specifics they would like to improve?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I just like just trying to visualize, because I had a bigger group before, and then they would talk about it. Sometimes it takes a long time to talk about what they want to work on. So some, a lot of teams they are used to just voting, right? Either by raising their hands or by doing polls or whatnot. So just want to, just curious.
Something that can help, Sylvia, is to have, as mentioned, we have a space in Jamboard or Miro, wherever you would like to use, and you put the most voted or the less value for you, or the ones that you need to work on are blah, 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 and you put it in their face, and you pick the ones, and they decide it. So it's important for them to take the decision on what in specifics we would like to work on.
Absolutely.
Of course, aligned with the purpose, right? With the major purpose.
When did they come up with that name, Harvest? I was curious.
With the sponsor.
With the sponsor?
That was part of my appreciative background. How do we invite 12 people who are thinking about holidays and Christmas in an appealing, challenging way so that the project would be appealing to them?
Great, thank you.
Of course. Any more questions?
I have a question related to the intersection of independent, like individual work you did, like coaching and gathering data versus collective, when you worked with everyone together. So what was the intersection of those two things?
What do you mean by intersection? How we complemented or used those things?
Yeah, like it sounded to me like somewhere at the beginning you did some individual data gathering. I don't know if you said 15 minutes or 50 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then throughout the time working with them as a coach, what was the kind of the cadence of individual versus collective
Okay.
work?
Again, do you want me to start, Gaby, and you?
No, I can start.
Okay.
Just the one-to-one interview, Donna. It means that I would like to know from you as a member your perception about the team, how you see the team, and where do you would like to see the team at the end of the process. So just 15 minutes, very short interview, one-to-one, to hear from you, your perspective. And then we share with them all the information, but without names, and every session was a presentation with the information, and they were like in a following sessions. And that was just an interview. Everything was team coaching, no individual coaching. That was just an interview, okay?
That was part of the pre-work.
We are at the top of the hour, so we need to wrap up. But why don't you, Gaby and Inés, put in the chat box your emails? So if anybody has any question that they want to follow up on, that would be great. I am also going to be posting this recording in LinkedIn and in YouTube, so you can go back and engage in a conversation if you want to follow up on this. And we have these sessions usually the second Tuesday of the month. So you can want to join us next month in English. And in Spanish also we have it. We did it on Monday the same week, but in the same week, but the Spanish version. So thank you very much. Thank you, Gaby, Inés, for doing this one more time. Thank you, Silvia, Mark, Donald, for coming and participating. And I think it was a great session. It will be good for more people to benefit from this. So I hope that they can watch the recordings. And if you know anybody who may be interested in becoming team coach, we have these programs twice a year. We have one more program coming up for the rest of the year to train team coaches. And also we're starting a coach certification in August. If you know anybody who may be interested in coaching, Silvia, maybe at the country, if you want to refer, we can talk about that later. Because we have a coaching program, a professional certification for 14, and also supervision program starting in September. I don't know, Mark, if that's something that you may be interested in. We can talk about that later. But great seeing everyone. Thank you, Mark, for coming. Celia, Donel, and thanks, Gaby, and Inés representation. Great seeing you.
Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.